The Democratic Party has become a parody of itself. At least that's what the article from the Daily Wire says. But I was reading this and I felt like it exemplified a lot of what I was seeing recently, especially with the Democratic debates. Now, I've typically railed on the far left, and usually when I do, I'm referring to the woke, identitarian, authoritarian nonsense we often see coming from Democrats and people like Ocasio-Cortez, the Squad, and then being embraced by people on stage. But I started thinking about it recently. And I think far left is often conflated as socialist because it's typically the socialists who embrace the woke ideology. So it's important to kind of break down and explain what's really going on. And I think the best way to do that is, well, kind of like what Josh Hammer did over the Daily Wire. The Democratic Party is becoming a parody of itself. It's not that they're embracing far left policy, but they're embracing more extreme versions of what you'd expect the Democrats to be. It's almost like a caricature. Someone's drawing a picture of Democrats and they're exaggerating all their features, but that's what I see on the debate stage. Take a look at, say, like immigration policy. You'll get someone like Obama saying, hey, let's help the dreamers. Let's create a path to citizenship. What the Democrats then do is one-up it. They're not going necessarily further left. They're just creating a more extreme and kind of satirical version of the Democrats are supposed to be. It's funny because it's typically what you'd expect of a Republican hit ad, right? If the Democrats propose, say, helping the dreamers, you'll hear some outraged conservative saying, oh, they're advocating for open borders. And then we see the actual escalation to where the Democrats actually are now embracing ridiculous policy positions. We also have what may be the most absurd parody of the Democratic Party in this boycott ABC campaign. Basically, a non-white woman criticized socialism and she was called racist. It's like a joke. And I think that's why you see so many people put the clown world emoji on everything. Certainly, this can't be real life, can it? And I think that's why we see so many comedians now coming out and slamming the Democrats, because they've become a parody of themselves. Well, let's do this. I want to take a look at Josh Hammer's thoughts on the matter because he's kind of brought a bunch of these points together, but I do have a bunch of stories to go through, or a couple at least, to talk about, the Democrats are starting to sound scarier and crazier than regular people. They're sounding like a joke. It's one thing to come out and say, hey, we need common sense gun reform. And then people argue over what it means. And then Beto gets up on stage and just goes, take them all, take everybody's firearms. And there it is, a parody. It's something you'd expect from Saturday Night Live. Well, let's read the story. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address. But of course, the best thing you can do is just share this video because I'm going to be talking about topics that are going to get me in trouble on YouTube. YouTube's going to derank the video. And also, you know what? Let's put it this way. Let's break some echo chambers. The algorithm is going to feed this video to people who pretty much agree, right? By you sharing it, someone who probably wouldn't be shown this video otherwise will get to see it. Let's read from the Daily Wire. The Democratic Party has become a parody of itself. Last night, Beto O'Rourke doubled down in rather colorful fashion on his vow to confiscate from law-abiding Americans their cherished rifles, whose cosmetically amorphous and technically undefinable features led leftists to peculiarly label them so-called assault weapons. Hold on, Josh. That also includes your regular old handgun. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47, O'Rourke said, to enthusiastic audience applause, as the Daily Wire's James Bear reported. Last night, furthermore, communist loonbag... Okay, I'll tone down the rhetoric. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren each doubled down in their joint defense of a one-size-fits-all socialized medicine national healthcare takeover that would, in the estimate of fellow 2020 presidential contender Amy Klobuchar, strip over 140 million Americans of their privately held health insurance plans. Now, I want to stop here. Hammer's being a bit too bombastic for me. Come on. We should tone down. There's no reason to insult them as we try to criticize them, so I won't do that, but I will stress this point. In a previous debate, they asked how many people wanted to ban private health care, and my understanding, because again, it's been a while, Kamala Harris agreed with it and then later issued a statement disagreeing with it. You see, what's happening is it's not so much about going too far left. It's about one-upping each other on the same policy. So, if you said, hey, we want to have some kind of public option Then all of a sudden someone says, no, we should only have a public option. We could ban all private health care. And it's like a really extreme version of the Democrats were offering. It's not always far left, right? Confiscating people's legal products like Beto wants to do, that's authoritarian. You could be right, left, whatever. As long as you're an authoritarian, you would do this. It is just an extreme version of talking about common sense gun reform. Let's read on. They say, Joe Biden, the purported moderate in this I'm having a lot of trouble reading through this, but Joe Biden says parroted last night that no one will lose his doctor under Obamacare ruse. A ruse which was literally exposed by left-leaning PolitiFact as its 2013 lie of the year with respect to the very underlying healthcare plan Biden now haplessly touts. So you get the point, right? Julian Castro then talks about, trans females getting abortion rights. And then you get Bill Maher saying they're scarier and crazier than Trump. He's right. Now, this is what I talked about in yesterday's video. But Bill Maher made an important point that is exemplified in a much less, crude fashion than Hammer. The Democrats are just sounding scarier and crazier, talking about all of these things the average person doesn't know or care about because they're constantly trying to one-up each other and go more extreme. It's not necessarily more far left to talk about trans females having abortion rights. It's just a more extreme position of saying you're in favor of rights for LGBTQ groups. So he one-ups the policy. Castro one-ups the policy on Dreamers by saying decriminalize border crossings. He's just trying to be like, oh yeah, well, I'll do this. In a desperate bid to separate themselves, they've embraced insane policies that have gone too far. Beto O'Rourke's call for complete confiscation? That's insane. It's a dramatic one-up, and most Americans don't agree with that. Who are you trying to impress? I honestly have no idea. It's like, as I said earlier, someone is doing a Saturday Night Live sketch, but this is real life. Let's bring it back to the latest news. Boycott ABC trends after debate night over ad against socialism and ocasio-cortez. This ad was put together by a woman who is Cambodian, and she was called a white supremacist. Check this story out. They say, calls to boycott ABC News. ABC News? Have risen following Thursday evening's 2020 Democratic debate over a commercial featuring a picture of New York Rep. AOC burning. That's it. It's a picture of AOC, a fire starts, and then it shows horrific images of Cambodia. Haven't there been ads like that before? I mean, with like a picture burning, like whatever, who cares? Is it that big of a deal? Well, look, I have no problem if people say, hey, burning a picture, a step too far. Okay, I don't care too much. I don't see it, but I'm willing to hear you out. Until Ocasio-Cortez steps in herself, and what does she say? Republicans are running TV ads setting pictures of me on fire to convince people they aren't racist. Life is weird. But it wasn't a white woman who made the ad. The point is, it's like a caricature. You get a Cambodian woman in the ad saying that she is not white and not racist, and how do they respond? On cue, as if it was a political cartoon or a comedy sketch. You're racist. It's just pure insanity. There's a story from the Daily Beast talking about young people of color joining white supremacist groups. That's literally a skit from Dave Chappelle like 10 or 15 years ago. We all saw it. Clayton Bigsby, the black white supremacist. It was a joke. And now they're doing it. I don't understand how they expect to win. If they're going to take an ad from this Cambodian woman and call her a racist because of it, well, then it gets difficult because AOC has to respond to the fact that the ad wasn't put together by white people. Know that this wasn't an ad for young conservatives of color. That was the pretense. What you just watched was a love letter to the GOP's white supremacist case. Is it a joke? The woman who put it together isn't even white. Look, man, you all know I'm like moderate, right? You can advocate for the far left, and I will listen. I've talked to communists. If you want to talk about social justice, I get it. I'm willing to hear the argument. But this is like a comedy sketch. It is not based in reality. It's like it just makes no sense, man. They are taking a policy, right? So you look at the Democrats for the longest time have been saying like, hey, racism is bad. We got to fight against it. And now they've taken it all the way up to satirical levels. A parody of what the Democrats were in the Obama era. It's like they don't have any real strategy. And it's funny, I'll go back to the tweet I was going to show you before. AOC tweets, GOP's message, no policy, no facts, just displays of violence, plus corporations like ABC Network and Sinclair who amplify them. They profit from burning my likeness on TV, but who pays for heightened security? Who answers the phones for the threats resulting from a violent false ad? Okay. A violent false ad. ABC, Sinclair, it's just, they're criticizing someone for criticizing socialism, and they're acting like this person is a white supremacist. So you want to ask me about policy? You want to say who actually is entertaining policy? It's not you. You're using regurgitated talking points from a long time ago. Obama can step up, and he can say something like, we've got to make changes in this country. Because they don't actually have any policy solutions for the American people, like how do we fix the healthcare problem? How do we do better foreign policy? They don't have any answers. How do we solve the border crisis? Well, the Democrats ignored it for so long, it got worse. So what do they say? I don't know. Elizabeth Hang, the Cambodian woman, is a white supremacist, I guess? How is that legitimate debate? How is that policy position? It just doesn't make any sense. Elizabeth responded, not Republicans. And this is to the AOC's tweet about the GOP's love letter to white supremacy. She said, not Republicans, me. Are you really calling me a racist, AOC? I'm calling all Democrats out for supporting an evil ideology. Or are you just in Congress to hang out with celebrities and tweet out ridiculous ideas like the Green New Deal? Elizabeth Hang then said, AOC response is the Democratic Party in a nutshell. They are more offended by truthful words than acts of their political ideology that has killed millions of innocent victims. I don't care about AOC's feelings. I care about stopping her lies about the lies, I care about stopping her lies about the lies of socialism. So here we are. They're now calling for a boycott. They're calling for a boycott because a commercial ran, and they're acting like it's white supremacy, racism. Yeah, okay, you get it. It's like a big joke. Nothing seems to make sense anymore. The Democrats aren't necessarily embracing the far left. They are. So let me explain. As they try to amplify the past positions of Obama or like a popular message, and they try to one-up each other, they make it more extreme. Sometimes that results in a policy going super far left, like, hey, let's just ban all private healthcare and go full-on government everything, instead of public option. So that is going to the far left. But when you call a woman of color a white supremacist, it's not necessarily far left, it's just not based in reality. And they've been continually doing this. Now, we often associate this with the far left because it is AOC and these far left activists who are embracing this weird one-upsmanship that results in clown-like nonsense. But I think it's important to show the difference. But let me show you a couple different stories. While they're simultaneously claiming that people like Elizabeth Hang of, what is it called, New Faces PAC, which is trying to highlight people of color who are Republicans, we see this story from the American Spectator. Why Trump's approval ratings are up among minorities. Polls increasingly show they have improved dramatically in key voter blocks. This is from August 19th. There was another poll from Zogby and I think Rasmussen both showing that Trump is doing really, really well with minority groups. So I have to ask, what's going on? Why is it that you get Rashida Tlaib and Ocasio-Cortez and all of these woke Twitterati people acting like a Cambodian woman is a racist? It's like Bill Maher says, they are becoming scarier and crazier than Trump. Meanwhile, people in this country are finally having enough. And that's something truly, there's something to behold here. Comedians are demolishing progressive thought police, and it's driving the media nuts. Yeah, let's see. We got Ricky Gervais, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Bill Maher, Joe Rogan. Hey, there's 5 top comedians at the top of my head. Now, Bill Maher is very political, but you get it. Calling out the insanity. What does that mean? I think it means that regular people have had enough. I think it means that we can see the Democratic Party on the debate stage has become a parody of itself. I think the simplest way to put it is that if you took what Ocasio-Cortez said about Elizabeth Hang, it's like out of a sketch from Saturday Night Live, where you just have someone screeching white supremacist all day and night. AOC recently saying Miami won't exist in a few years or something to that effect. So when you get Dave Chappelle coming out and ragging on you, and people seem to love it, but the critics are furious, Here's the Rotten Tomatoes from Dave Chappelle for those that are listening. 31% tomato meter, but a 99% audience score. Yeah, because we're tired of it, man. I don't know what it's gonna take to wake up the Democrats. And even as someone who's been a fan of Yang, I rolled my eyes. My eyes were rolling so hard, I passed out from dizziness when Yang announced the sweepstakes to win $1,000 a month by going to his website. Look, man, I've never been a big fan of UBI. His is a bit different. I think it's very important to draw a distinction here. Universal basic income typically is perceived as a taxpayer-funded venture, which makes little sense, whereas Yang's plan is a dividend. It's essentially a VAT tax on massive international corporations that would then pay out to the American citizen. So it's different. But let's be real, man. How absurd is it? First, 2016, we end up with a reality TV celebrity president, Donald Trump. Now, I get it. Trump was successful and famous before doing the reality TV thing. I totally get it. But you see the point. He's a celebrity, he wins. Well, I got to be honest. It started with Obama. Obama was a politician, but he acted very much so like a celebrity, and they called him a celebrity politician. So then you actually get a celebrity. You get Trump. Now, he was a businessman. Then he became a celebrity. And now we have Andrew Yang. As much as I appreciate that he's got a lot of plans for domestic policy and he's really thought it through, I've been a fan of his, this was the next level. The TV sweepstakes president, it's all just one big joke at this point. Seriously. Look, man, you can offer up the UBI thing. I get it. You can say we're going to do the dividend to show people what's going on. But I really don't see Yang as having done that. Offering 10 people $1,000 a month by going to my website is just a contest to win your support. It's not actually educating. I guess technically you could argue, I think he's arguing that by telling, it's incentivizing people to come to my website and learn about my policies. But come on, he's offering cash for the vote. And that's where we're at. People have said the Democrats are socialists for a long time. And, it was the boy crying wolf. Perhaps many conservatives will regret now having screeched socialism for so long when you now literally have a guy on the debate stage offering $1,000 a month to 10 families if they go to his website and sign up. Again, I think it's important that Andrew Yang talks about automation because there was recently a viral video about cake decoration where robots are doing art and stuff like that, So yeah, it's a serious issue. I'm glad he's on the debate stage, or I should say, I feel like I'm being let down by Yang. Staying in line with basically what we're talking about, the caricature, the parody of Democrats, you can call them socialist. You can talk about how they want to, they're going to confiscate your weapons. And then Beto comes out and says, yup, they're socialists. And then they come out and they're literally like Green New Deal. Guaranteed. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. Ocasio-Cortez is a socialist. It's not that they're going far left. It's that they've become so extreme on the Democratic platform. I don't understand why anybody is going to want anything like that. So you know what? I don't want to just keep spinning in circles here. I'll finish off the final point. What Bill Maher said the other day. They're looking scarier and crazier than Trump. They're becoming a parody of. Oh, I'm sorry. They're a parody of themselves. All of the things that conservatives threw at Democrats 10 years ago, they've run with. Full confiscation, violation of 2A. We're talking about abolishing private health care. We're talking about guaranteed government jobs and housing. And then you finally get someone on stage literally just being like, hey, whatever, man, I'll just give you money. Ding, 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 ding. Win the sweepstakes. So you know what? There you go. We get the politicians we deserve. I think Trump's going to win 2020 because as crazy as he may seem to many, many people, he's not as crazy as the rest of them. And you got even Bill Maher saying it. Michael Moore apparently challenged him on his show saying, you were so good, Bill Maher. Why are you stopping? And Bill Maher is like, dude, you guys are going nuts. Whatever, man. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment will be coming up at youtube.com/TimCastNews at 6 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you there.